Hey guys, welcome to Muscle Memory. My name is Malcolm. We're here at Reality of Wrestling with Booker T. How are you?
I'm good. I'm doing pretty good. It's a stressful day, but I'm doing pretty good.
I'm sure. It's show day. Obviously, it's a big new venue for Reality of Wrestling. Can you explain the setup that's going on here today? Because it looks a lot like NXT in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much based, modeled out after NXT, trying to give these young girls an experience from a production standpoint, a in-ring standpoint, as well as behind-the-scenes standpoint. Let them know what it's going to look like when they get to that next level.
Sure.
And hopefully we'll get a few of them out of here this year to that next level.
Of course. And looking at Reality of Wrestling roster right now, are there a few names you're like, yes, this guy, this girl, they're ready for TV?
Oh, man, of course, Gigi Ray, Promise Braxton, Mysterious Q, Ryan Davidson, Zach Zilla, Zach Mason. We got a lot of guys here that's ready to make that journey to the next step, but we just want to make sure that they are 100% prepared for that next step, because as hard as it is to make it to that next level, it's so much harder to stay there.
For sure.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on in the WWE right now. They recently just merged with Endeavor, with the UFC and TKO. Do you have any interest of ever commentating a UFC event or fight, if you have the opportunity?
Not really. Not UFC. I like doing boxing.
Okay.
I like doing NXT just because it's young, kind of like what I'm doing here with Reality of Wrestling. Boxing, I have a wealth of knowledge, from a historian's perspective. But MMA, even though I've been watching it since the inception, I haven't been one of those guys who have been totally in tune to what's going on today. It's totally changed a little bit.
Is there any UFC fighter in particular you could see make that jump over to pro wrestling, and maybe even vice versa, a pro wrestler that could jump over to the UFC?
Going over to the UFC, I don't see anybody. But as far as guys coming over to the WWE, I'm sure you got a lot of talkers like Kobe Covington, who can, draw a crowd. You got guys like Israel Adesanya, who's so flamboyant, even though he just lost his last fight to Sean Strickland. But it's going to be interesting to see exactly if it is a crossover.
For sure.
Yeah. And
even looking at your role in NXT right now on commentary, there's so many amazing young stars. And recently, The Rock came back on SmackDown, and his daughter's right now in NXT. What's your thoughts on Ava Rain's progress so far in NXT?
Well, she really just had her first match, I guess about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That was really her first match. She's been out, she's done a lot of stuff, but she hadn't been in the ring, and she actually showed me a whole lot from her first time in-ring perspective. So I'm looking to see how far she can go. It's in the blood. All the family members seem to pick it up from some form, some fashion, and do very well at it. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out for her.
And speaking about her father, The Rock, that was on SmackDown, he made a quick cameo. What's your favorite memory looking back at your time with The Rock? You obviously had your SummerSlam match back in 2001. What's your favorite Rock memory?
I wouldn't say it's any one Rock memory, but just the moments.
Yeah.
That we had, the moments that we created, and the fun times that we had. Even when the camera wasn't rolling, it could have been a house show, it could have been overseas, and we would just be acting stupid and making the fans, have a good time and have a moment that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives, So it's not going to be any one match. I've never based my career on the matches or anything like that. It's always been about the moments.
When you go into grocery stores, do you get flashbacks from your time with Steve Austin?
Nah, heck nah, man. No, just another day at work. That's the way I always look at my job, come to work, whatever is on the list for me that day, I'm going to look at it, I'm going to analyze it, I'm going to try to figure out how I can make that one thing the best I possibly can and make it something memorable, even though it was something very, very small. That's what I try to teach my students. When you're an actor, you may start out with those small roles, but just like Denzel Washington, and then you find yourself doing the Equalizer 3,
Sure.
So that's the way it works, but you got to put in all of that work in the middle to really make that happen.
How hard was it setting up that entire grocery haul or grocery store Brawl with Steve Austin? Just going in, actually setting up we're gonna fight in this. I'm gonna be thrown in this cart.
It wasn't like that. We just pretty much played it by ear. We looked at it, we glanced at it, and the cameras, director said action, and we started, and it was one take, and we got in and got out of there unscathed, and we made a moment that people are still remembering, this many years later, So I think that's what the business is kind of missing, guys not understanding that, it's not more so about them, but the moments that you create for those fans that come up to you at a convention or, at a signing somewhere 20 years later, they go, man, you and Steve Austin at the grocery store. That's what it has been about for me, this whole journey, and it's been a pretty cool journey.
Definitely. And actually, like a little story, in 8th grade, I actually had never watched wrestling at that point. But the first time I ever saw, like you, for example, I did a book report on you in 8th grade, your first book that came out, From Prison to Promise. When writing that book and then your second one after that, like what have you learned like about yourself as a writer?
That I could do it, that, anything's possible. I never saw myself, writing a book as a kid or anything like that, being an author. That's not something that, one in my neighborhood grew up to aspire to be, but you find yourself in that position, and like on the movie, what was it, maybe Beowulf, I think it was, they say, give this man a gold piece, he has a story to tell. And that's what my life has been about, having a story to tell and telling that story, and hopefully some young kid can, see it and go, wow, if Booker T did it, I can do it too.
Sure. Can you tell us like the first time you ever hit a spinneroonie?
Many years ago, I used to be a break dancer. I used to dance when I was a kid. That was my passion. I used to have several dance groups, and we used to do all the talent shows, around the city, and that was a passion well before wrestling, and it's just something I did in the wrestling ring one day practicing, and it just stuck.
Yeah. Amazing. And like before we wrap this up, I want to talk about also the Royal Rumble. They just recently announced the 2024 Royal Rumble. You had your big return in 2011 and in 2023. Which time was a little more exciting for you? Was it 2011 or 2023?
Probably 2011, because I could move around a lot better. It was a lot quicker.
Yeah, you look great in both.
I didn't have to pray as hard to do that spinneroonie. But both moments was satisfying. I never saw myself, in the Royal Rumble last year or anything like that. And then I get the call, and I'll go out and get it done. And just to be in the ring with the young guys, I was humbled. Just to be out there with those guys, just one more time.
Sure.
It's all about it really is about those guys, and I really appreciate those guys, giving me a chance to be out there with them, just one last ride, So, but it was awesome. But you can't take either one as better than the other just because and how often do you get a chance to have a moment like that?
It's true. It's true. So 2024, any opportunity you might see in the Rumble?
Oh no. I'm Rumble free.
Oh man, last match.
I never say last match or anything like that. Wrestlers really never retire or anything like that. You never know. You just never know. Totally Saudi might call. And then your legs start feeling a lot better.
That's fair.
Your knees feel oiled.
Like you're 25.
You feel me? So yes, anything can happen.
If you could have one last match with someone on the main roster, who would it be?
Who's the smallest?
Who? Roman Reigns.
Oh, I say the smallest.
Roman Reigns.
Because that's who my choice would be. The smallest, skinniest guy on the roster. Whoever that is. Cedric Alexander.
There it is. I love it.
I'm just playing, man. I'm just playing.
I hope he sees this too. We'll send it to him.
I've been messing with Cedric for about 3 weeks now, so hopefully he'll see that.
Good. Well, Booker, thank you so much for your time. Where can they find you on social media and follow Reality Wrestling?
Booker T5X, of course, on Twitter, Instagram, and well, it's not Twitter, X on X. Yeah. And of course, the Hall of Fame podcast. You can find it on all platforms.
You heard it here first, Booker T. He's gonna wrestle Cedric Alexander. That's what I got out of this interview. My name's Malcolm, and we're out.
Going up like 1,000. I'm a flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. We going up like 1,000. I'ma flex just like a muscle man Malcolm. When it just like 1, 2, 3. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze. If you like the channel, this will squeeze.